Dear viewers, this is my second lecture on the topic hard and soft acid and bases. In my earlier lecture, I have discussed the various concepts of acids and bases. Then we have defined what are hard and soft acids and bases. Apart from them, we have also classified acids and bases into hard and soft category along with the borderline category. We have also discussed whether there is any relation between the acid base strength and hardness and softness, and in the end we took HSAB principle. In my today's lecture, I will be dealing with many other topics along with the application of HSAB. So, the lecture plan of my today's lecture goes like this. First of all, we will be discussing the term symbiosis. Then we will study the basis of hard and soft interaction. We will see the relation between electronegativity and hardness and softness of various acids and bases. And in the end, we will be discussing the various applications of hard and soft acids and bases. So, to start the lecture, let us first of all discuss what is symbiosis. Symbiosis is basically the tendency of a soft acid to combine with the center which is already associated with a soft base, and the tendency of a hard acid to combine with the center which is already associated with a hard base. For example, we have boron trifluoride. In this case, boron trifluoride, the center boron is associated to 3 fluoride ions. When the 4th fluoride ion reacts with boron trifluoride, it easily gets attached to it and it forms BF4 minus. This reactions happen so easily because the center is already associated with fluoride ion. So, the 4th fluoride ion easily gets attached to it. This is what symbiosis is. This is another example where boron is attached to hydride ion, and when it reacts with a 4th hydride ion, it again easily get attached to it and it forms BH4 minus. So, the symbiosis is very simple, and we can say like this is fluoride is a hard acid and it easily gets attached to a center which is already attached to a fluoride ion. In symbiosis, or we can say according to symbiosis, mixed substituents are not preferred, like BH3F negative or BF3H negative. Such type of complexes are not favored. If we look at this reaction, we have BH3F minus. In this we can see the center boron is attached to 2 different types of substituents, hydride as well as fluoride, and the other complex BF3H minus, here the center boron is attached to fluoride ion as well as hydride ion. So, here we see that there are mixed substituents. So, these 2 reactants, they react with each other to form BH4 minus and BF4 minus. The reaction is spontaneous because the mixed substituents, they reassemble themselves and form one type of substituent, like a center is attached to one type of substituent. So, we have BH4 minus and BF4 minus. Similarly, in this case we can see we have CH3F and CHF3. Here also we see the center carbon is attached to 2 different type of substituents. So, when these 2 react together, they form CH4 and CF4. The similar substituents, they get attached to one center. So, this is what symbiosis is. Next is the basis of hard and soft interaction. So, what is the basis of hard and soft interaction? Why hard acids get attached to a hard base and a soft acid gets attached to a soft base? This we will be studying under this topic. Hard interaction is an electrostatic interaction, that is, bonding among hard acid and hard base is predominantly ionic. We can see from this relation which says that the electrostatic energy between positive and negative ion pair is inversely proportional to the internuclear distance. That means, suppose we have 2 ions, a positive ion which is a hard base and a negative ion which is a hard acid. When these 2 are far apart, then the internuclear distance between these 2 is large, and force of attraction, that is the electrostatic energy, is very low. Since the electrostatic energy is very low, so ionic bond or electrostatic bond would not be formed between them. But when these two species, that is the hard acid and hard base, they come together, that means the internuclear distance decreases. When the distance decreases, the electrostatic energy increases, that means the force of attraction between the negative ion and the positive ion increases, and easily an ionic bond or an electrostatic bond is formed. And if we study or if we look at hard acid, we know hard acids are small in size, they have very less d electrons in their d orbitals. So, since the size is small, the negative ion, that means the ligand, can approach the acid very closely. Since it is approaching the acid very closely, the internuclear distance is less, and internuclear distance being less, the bond formed would be electrostatic or ionic. Therefore, smaller the ion, lesser would be the internuclear distance and greater would be the attraction between the two ions. The compound would be highly stable. If we look at the soft-soft interaction, the soft-soft interaction is explained by the polarization. Most of the soft acid have 6 to 10 d electrons in their outermost shell, which easily gets polarized, favoring a covalent bond. The polarizing power and polarizability of d electrons plays an important role. In case of soft-soft interaction, as I have already told in my earlier lecture, that soft acids have a large size. Since they have large size and they also have a number of d electrons in their outermost orbital, they have almost 6 to 10 d electrons in their outermost orbital. The size is also large, they are in low oxidation state. So, what happens? The cation, that is a metal ion, it is unable to hold its electron cloud because the charge density is very heavy. It has a high charge density, so it is unable to hold it, and when a ligand approaches it, so ligand cannot approach too close to the this metal ion, and the distance between the two ions, that is a positive ion, that metal and the ligand, is very large and electrostatic bond would not be formed. But in this case, what happens? Since the electron density is very high, very heavy or very high, the ligand is approaching the metal ion, this gets distorted or it gets polarized. Since it gets polarized, so according to Fazan rule, the covalent character increases and the bond formed between a soft acid and soft base is mostly covalent. According to Mission and co-workers, they proposed a relation in 1967 which can tell whether a given species is hard or soft. So, their relation is pKa, which is equal to minus of log k and which is equal to Ax plus By plus C. In this relation, we have various parameters where k is the equilibrium constant for dissociation of the metal ligand, that is the acid base complex. X and Y are the parameters for the metal ions, that is the acid. A, B are the parameters for the ligands, that is the base. And C is any constant which is used to adjust the pKa values in such a way that all of them lie on the same scale. So, according to Mission and co-workers, if the value of Y is less than 2.8, the acid is a hard acid, and if the value of Y is more than 3.2, the acid is a soft acid. Similarly, if we look for B, if the value of B is less than 3, the base is a hard base, and if the value of B is greater than 5, the base is a soft base. If the value of B lies in between 3 and 5, then the base are considered to be borderline bases. Similarly, in case of Y, if the value of Y lies between 2.8 and 3.2, the acid is considered to be the borderline acid. Similarly, we can see for X and A also. Now, we will see what is the relation between electronegativity and hardness and softness. So, it is very simple. The species which have high electronegativity are considered to be hard, and the species which have low electronegativity are soft. Why is it so? We will soon come on to it. This is valid for mainly ions like lithium ion. If we talk about lithium, lithium has a very low electronegativity because lithium is an electropositive element. But if we talk about lithium ion, that is lithium positive, which is formed by the removal of one electron from lithium, what happens? Now lithium ion, it is very difficult to remove the second electron from lithium ion, because the second ionization energy of lithium ion is very high. So it has a high electronegativity. Since it has high electronegativity, it will be considered as hard. Similarly, transition metals in low oxidation state like copper positive, silver positive, these have relatively low ionization energies, because these have a number of electrons in their valence d orbital, which can be easily removed. A very low ionization energy would be required to remove them, and hence these have low electronegativities. And since these species have low electronegativities, they are considered to be soft. The relation between hardness and electronegativity, it explains the following fact. The fact is that CH3 is less hard than CF3. Why is it so? So, this we can explain from the electronegativity. Fluoride ion is more electronegative than hydride ion. Since this fluoride ion is more electronegative than hydride ion, these both are attached to same center, that is carbon. This being more electronegative, this is a hard acid. When a hard acid is attached to some center, it hardens the complete species. So, this complete species gets hardened. So, CF3 is harder than CH3. According to Mulliken-Zeffe definition of electronegativity, which has two parameters A and B. The parameter A is the first derivative of ionization energy and electron affinity curve, whereas the parameter B is the second derivative of ionization energy and electron affinity curve. Where the parameter A, it is identical with original Mulliken electronegativity, and B is the inverse of the charge capacity of any atom or a group. So, the relation between electronegativity and hardness refers to the parameter B. So, as I have already told, B is inversely proportional to the charge capacity. Hence, hard atom will have high value of B. High value of B means they have low charge capacity, whereas the soft atoms will have small value of B. Small value of B means they will have less charge capacity, as B is inversely proportional to charge capacity. Therefore, fluoride ion forms a very hard anion and also hardens the CF3 group, as I have discussed in the earlier example. Frontier orbitals also play a very important role in deciding the electronegativity and hence the hardness and softness of any species. So, what are these frontier orbitals? Frontier orbitals are basically the HOMO and LUMO. HOMO is the highest occupied molecular orbital and LUMO is the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. So, what exactly we mean by HOMO and LUMO is that if we look at the molecular orbital diagram of a molecule, we see we have many orbitals. Among them, some are occupied orbitals and some are unoccupied orbitals. So, among the occupied orbitals, the one which is highest, or we can say the last which has been occupied, is the highest occupied molecular orbital. And after the occupied molecular orbital or after the HOMO, we have unoccupied molecular orbitals. So, among unoccupied molecular orbitals, the lowest one, the first one which comes just after HOMO is the LUMO, that is lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. According to Koopman theorem, for a closed shell species, the energy of HOMO represents ionization energy, while the energy of a LUMO represents the electron affinity. These orbitals, that is HOMO and LUMO, are involved in the electronegativity of HSAB principle. Hard species have large HOMO-LUMO gap, like I have already told, HOMO and thereafter comes LUMO. If this gap is very large, the species would be hard, and in second case, soft species have small HOMO-LUMO gap. If the gap between HOMO and LUMO is small, then the species would be soft. So, we can decide from the gap whether a resulting species is a hard or soft. Presence of low-lying LUMO orbitals. Low-lying LUMO orbitals means LUMO orbitals which are not present at a very high energy, but they are present lower, like we can say they are close to HOMO orbitals. So, the presence of low-lying LUMO orbitals to mix with ground state accounts for the polarizability of the soft atoms, and polarizability allows the distortion of electron clouds to reduce repulsion. So, soft species and soft acids and bases can form pi bond, which is made possible by large number of electrons in d orbitals on the metal and empty low lying acceptor orbitals on the ligand. This simply means soft acids, they have a large number of electrons in the d orbitals. That means they have a heavy or high electron density around the metal ion. So, in these case the mixing of the low lying LUMO orbitals with the ground state is very easy, and this results in polarizability or distortion, and hence the resulting bond is a covalent bond. Hard-hard interaction is electrostatic, it is very clear. As we can see from this example, lithium fluoride. In lithium fluoride, bond is a strong bond, and the calculation based on electronegativity theory suggests that in lithium fluoride molecule, 1/4 of the bond comes from the covalent character. 1/4 comes from the transfer of electron density from less electronegative lithium to more electronegative fluoride ion, and the remaining half of the bond comes from the ionic bonding. So, in lithium fluoride molecule, the majority of the bond is ionic bond, and hence this molecule is a hard species. We have a combination of hard acid and hard base. In this example, we can see we have mercury fluoride plus beryllium iodide. These two species are basically a combination of soft hard and hard soft. Mercury is a soft acid while fluoride is a hard base. Similarly, beryllium is a hard acid while iodide is a soft base. So, when these two combine, they form beryllium fluoride, which is a combination of hard. Beryllium is a hard acid and fluoride is a hard base. Similarly, HgI2, which is a combination of soft. Mercury is also a soft acid and iodide is also a soft base. In this example, we have mercury fluoride and beryllium iodide, in which mercury is a soft acid while fluoride is a hard base, and in beryllium iodide, beryllium is a hard acid while iodine is a iodide ion is a soft base. So, here we have a combination of hard soft and soft hard, which is unstable. So, it easily breaks up to form BeF2 and HgI2. In BeF2, both beryllium and fluoride are hard, beryllium being a acid and fluoride being a base. Similarly, in HgI2, Hg is a soft acid while iodide is a soft base. So, we get a combination of hard and soft. So, this can also be seen from the delta H value, which is negative, that this particular reaction is a spontaneous one. And what is the driving force between this reaction? The driving force between the reaction is the hard interaction. Since hard soft and soft hard interaction is unstable, so it easily breaks up to form hard and soft. So, hard interaction is the driving force behind the reaction is the hard interaction. Coming on to the application of HSAB, which is the last topic of my talk. So, up till now we have been studying what are acids, what are bases, what are soft acids and what are soft bases, their classification, their relation with acid base strength, their relation with electronegativity, symbiosis, HSAB principle, all these things we have been studied up till now. But the thing is, why do we study all this, or what is the purpose of HSAB? So, all this thing comes under the application of HSAB. What is the requirement of studying HSAB? So, the first application of hard and soft acid and base is the stability of a complex. So, if we know, if we have a thorough knowledge of HSAB, we can tell whether a particular complex would be stable or not. So, if we look at this particular reaction, we have an acid A and a base B. These two combine together to form a complex AB. Now, this particular complex AB would be more stable if both A and B are either hard or they are soft. If one of them is hard and other is soft, the resulting complex AB would be unstable. So, we have in this example silver, which is a soft acid. When it combines with iodide ion, which is a soft base, we get AgI2. The complex would be stable because both the species, that is Ag and I2, both are soft. Hence, the complex AgI2 is stable. In another example, we have silver ion, which is again a soft acid, and fluoride ion, which is a hard base. So, from here we can say that the resulting complex would be a combination of soft and hard, and we have AgF2, which is a combination of a soft acid and a hard base, and we can easily predict that this complex would be unstable. The second application is the prediction of coordination in complexes of ambident ligands. So, before going on to the prediction, let us see what are ambident ligands. Ambident ligands are the ligands which can coordinate to metal ion through either of its coordinating atoms. As for example, we have cyanide ion. Cyanide ion is made up of two atoms, C and N, and this can coordinate through C also and through N also. If it coordinates through C to a metal, it will form metal cyanide bond, but if it coordinates through nitrogen, it would form metal isocyanide bond. So, such type of ligands are called ambident ligands. So, a particular metal will coordinate to through which atom, this can be predicted by the HSAB principle. For example, we have SCN minus. It coordinates through nitrogen to form the complex cobalt NCS, which is thioisocyanate, and through sulfur to form platinum SNC, which is thiocyanate. The reason being, platinum is a soft acid. It is a soft acid, so it coordinates through a soft base, that is sulfur, while the reason being, platinum being a soft acid, it coordinates through the soft atom, which is sulfur. Therefore, it forms PD-SCN linkage, while cobalt is a hard acid and it prefers to coordinate through the hard atom, that is nitrogen, to form cobalt NCS linkage. So, from this we can predict whether a particular metal would coordinate through which atom. Another application of HSAB is the prediction of the feasibility of a reaction. So, whether a particular reaction would be feasible or not, we can easily tell if we have a knowledge of HSAB. Like for example, we have this particular reaction in which we have lithium iodide, which is a combination of hard acid and a soft base, and cesium fluoride, which is a combination of soft acid and hard base. So, we know that hard soft or soft hard combination is unstable. When these two species they react together, they easily formed a combination of hard hard and soft soft, that is lithium would get attached to fluoride to form hard hard combination, and cesium would get attached to iodide to form soft soft combination. So, this particular reaction we can say is feasible, as is also understood from the delta H value, which is negative. Here we have another example in which we have mercury fluoride, again which is a combination of soft acid and a hard base, and BeI2, which is a combination of hard acid and soft base. So, since we have again a combination of hard soft and soft hard, the species being unstable, they will break down to form a combination of soft soft and hard hard. So, we have HgI2, which is a combination of soft acid and soft base, and beryllium fluoride, in which beryllium is a hard acid and fluoride is a hard base. So, this reaction we can easily say is a feasible reaction, as is also understood from its delta H value, which is again negative. Combination of hard and soft ligands with metal ions is more favorable than a combination of mixture of hard and soft ligands. This means if a metal ion is attached to two different ligands and if both of them are hard or both of them are soft, the complex would be more stable. But if one of them is hard and the other is soft, the complex would be unstable. Like we have this particular complex where cobalt is attached to cyanide and iodide, and in second complex we have cobalt attached to ammonia and fluoride. These two complexes are stable because cyanide is a soft base and iodide is also a soft base, whereas ammonia is a hard base and fluoride is also a hard base. Since cobalt is attached to similar kinds of, we can say, species, that is both are either hard or soft, so these two complexes would be stable. But in case of these two another complexes where cobalt is attached to cyanide and fluoride, and in second complex cobalt is attached to ammonia and iodide, these two complexes would be unstable because cyanide is a soft base whereas fluoride is a hard base. So, here metal ion is attached to two different types of bases, so it would be unstable. Similarly, here also ammonia is a hard base while iodide is a soft base. So, again here cobalt is attached to two different type of bases, one hard and one soft. So, the complex would be unstable. And the last application of HSAB is the prediction of hardness and softness. So, with the help of HSAB, we can predict whether a particular given base or acid is hard or soft. Suppose we have a base B whose hardness or softness is to be predicted. So, what we do, since we have a base, we react it with some acid. Suppose we react it with proton. Proton is a hard acid. Then we react the species with some soft acid like methyl mercury cation. If this particular reaction moves in forward direction where we have CH3, Hg, B and proton, that means the base, it leaves the hard acid and it gets attached to the soft acid. So, we can say that the particular base, given base, is a soft base because it gets attached to the soft acid. But if the reaction moves in the backward direction, we can easily say that the given base is a hard base because it likes to remain with the hard acid. So, if there is any base or acid, we can easily predict whether it is hard or soft. So, now coming on to the summary of my lecture. In my today's lecture, I have discussed symbiosis, which is the tendency of a soft acid to combine with the center which is already associated with the soft base, and a hard acid to combine with the center which is already associated with the hard base. Then we have discussed the basis of hard and soft interaction, in which we have seen that the hard interaction is ionic and soft interaction is covalent. We have also discussed the electronegativity and hardness softness. Hard species have high electronegativities while soft species have low electronegativities. In the end, we have discussed the various applications of HSAB, in which we have discussed the stability of complexes, prediction of coordination of complexes of ambident ligands, prediction of feasibility of a reaction, and prediction of hardness and softness. So, with this lecture, I have completed my series on soft and hard acids and bases. In this, we have discussed the various topics like the classification of acids and bases, the classification of acids and bases as hard and soft, their relation with electronegativities, hard and soft acid and bases principle, and the relation between the acid and basic strength, and finally we have also discussed the applications of HSAB. So, with this the topic HSAB is complete. Thank you.